Jackson Hole Mountain Resort is home to one of the most famous runs in all of North America, Corbet's Couloir. This legendary run is also the playground for the annual Kings and Queens competition. And while you may not aspire to do double backflips like the athletes into the couloir, you're probably watching this video because you too want to experience what it's like to ski this run. Today, I'm going to tell you guys when to ski Corbet's, explain different ways of dropping in, as well as everything else you need to know about Corbet's Couloir. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Jay of JX Nina. We're an adventure travel couple based out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I've been ski instructing for 5 years now and have also skied Corbet's almost a dozen times. If you missed last week's video, we just dropped a JHMR ski resort guide. For those of you that are new to the resort, this is a great way to get your bearings with everything that the resort has to offer. But before we get into this video, I do want to include a quick disclaimer that I am not responsible for any injuries that come from skiing this run. Please ski this at your own risk. So let's get into it. A lot of people don't know, but the run is closed more than it's actually open. It's very rare for the run to actually be open before the Kings and Queens competition, and it's definitely going to be closed a few weeks leading up to the competition, typically around mid-February. When should you ski Corbet's Couloir? The best time to ski it is after the competition in late February, March, or early April. It's really rare for Corbet's to be open all day, so your best chances of skiing it are the very first thing in the morning. Now let's explain the different ways to drop in. Let's start with the first method of the goat path, and this is also going to be the easiest way to get in. You'll see videos on the internet of people dropping off the wall, people dropping off the nose. The goat path is also the only way that I've actually skied Corbet's and the only way I've ever seen other people ski Corbet's in person. If you're skiing, chances are you can actually break it down into a 1-2 movement where you slide in to the path and then do a quick hop turn before skiing into the couloir. If you're a little bit more confident, I recommend giving it a go all at once. The next method is dropping off the nose. This is famous for being seen in the Kings and Queens competition. You'll need a run up with a little bit of speed, and you're also going into the couloir blind because you can't see your landing until you've already left the ground. Another method is the wall. This is probably going to be the biggest drop. You'll also see this method used on Corbet's next door neighbor, S&S Couloir. And if you know about S&S Couloir, you definitely should not consider skiing it unless you are a professional athlete. The last thing I'll say about dropping in is that it's much more difficult for snowboarders. So if you're taking the goat path, a lot of snowboarders will slide out before they're able to actually hit the good snow. To be able to ski Corbet's Couloir, there's two main criteria. You need to have the physical ability and the mental ability. It's rare to be a skier that has both. I will say that nothing can truly prepare you to ski this run, but there are some simulators that can help you train. At a bare minimum, you need to be comfortable with adrenaline, and that means getting air with your skis leaving the snow and traveling at high speeds. You'll also need to learn how to shave off speed in a tight corridor. That means a steep run where you don't have a lot of options to turn, stop, side slip, things like that. If you're already skiing at Jackson Hole, good runs to learn this skill are on Paintbrush, Tower 3, as well as the Alta chutes. You need to be able to ski these runs with no stops and no side slipping. A lot of people say that Corbet's Couloir is the hardest run to ski here at Jackson Hole, and I actually disagree with that. I actually think Meet Your Maker is the hardest run. This, in my opinion, is the best Corbett simulator because it is a straight chute where you have zero options to turn. You're going to need to have the courage to ski this run at a high speed as well as stay in control the whole time. So here are my top tips for being able to ski the run. Number one, commit to skiing the run before you lay eyes on it. A lot of times people will get up to the run and then they'll take one look, and then next thing you know, there's no way they're going to do it. It's best if you go with friends who hear you say that you're going to ski the run if it's open, and before you drop in, count out loud. That way you have to go when you finish your countdown. The second tip is not to be up there very long. This is not the tram ride to go experience the top of the world waffles. And then I'll say the longer you're up there, the more mentally taxing it is. Staring at something scary is only going to get harder and harder and harder the longer that you're up there. And tip number 3 is to do a zipper check. Make sure you're not skiing this run with anything open. That's just a recipe for you to lose any of your gear. I'd also recommend taking anything out of your pockets that you wouldn't want to fall on, whether you have something nice like a nice phone, car keys. These are not very comfortable things to fall onto. So at this point, hopefully you've dropped in and made it into the couloir. Now what? You're done with the hardest part, and now you just have a steep run with typically a lot of powder.
One of the most terrifying things to do is to lay down and look over the edge. Videos just don't do Corbet's justice. It is pretty terrifying standing at the top. I've skied it once. I don't know if skiing is a good enough term because I basically side slipped, and Jay has skied it too many times to count.
Here's a quick step-by-step breakdown for how to ski Corbet's. Please note that the run will look significantly different on any given day. Some days it may be gradual, soft, and have good coverage. Other days there will be a mandatory air, exposed rocks in the path, and icy conditions. Like I mentioned earlier, I recommend breaking the drop into 2 parts, side slipping into the goat path and the hop turn. For the side slip, start by facing towards the wall. As you enter, keep your poles up so you don't accidentally trip yourself. Be careful not to allow your tips to ram into the wall too hard, as I've seen this cause accidental ski ejections if the DIN settings were set too low. slow. Once you're in the goat path, make sure your tips aren't stuck and that there's room for you to turn. Plant your pole and get into a good aggressive stance for the hop turn. Don't stay in this spot for long. Count down from 3 and go for it. Throw yourself forward. It's easy to get scared and sit down into the back seat. Combine this with an icy run out and it will result in a wipeout. However, if you followed this guide, the crash should be low speed and therefore low consequence, allowing you to get back up and live to tell the tale.
If you want to see Corbett's from the bottom, you want to take the East Ridge Traverse around and out of Rendezvous Bowl to get the best view. After coming around the bend, the Traverse will drop you off right here at the bottom of Corbett's. From here, you can also see S&S Couloir. It's like the older brother to Corbett's. It's a lot more extreme and way less well known. It's never really open unless Patrol has given anyone special approval to ski it.
And as always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you found it valuable, please make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as follow us on Instagram. And we'll catch you guys next time for another best day ever. If the run is closed, you actually are able to take your skis off and come look over the edge, but just make sure you have your skis off. Method number 3 is known as the wall. So you can actually see behind me, there's a really big wall. That's not actually what you do. I've only ever seen a video of somebody doing this.
You got it. Woohoo!